Good morning, America. Snowy Sunday, a wintry mix extending down into Florida, now moving up the East Coast. The winter storm warnings and advisories and the Arctic blast to follow. Bitter wind chills heading into the new week. Our weather team timing it all out.
Hands off. Protesters gathering in Greenland and Denmark, rallying against any plans by President Trump to take over the Arctic island. Their message of unity as President Trump threatens countries who oppose him with extra tariffs. How those NATO allies are responding.
Troops on alert.
Ice off our streets!
Tensions high in Minneapolis following nights of protests against ICE activity. Officials telling ABC News more than 1,000 Army paratroopers are on standby for possible deployment to the city.
Measles outbreak. Cases in South Carolina growing to more than 500. Doctors sounding the alarm.
And it's going to get worse before it gets better.
The growing concern for children too young to get the vaccine and other vulnerable populations.
Prince Harry returns to the UK, suing the publisher of the Daily Mail. The other celebs joining suit, accusing the paper of breaking the law to collect information on them.
I'm still standing better than I ever did. Looking like a true survivor.
And wild finish. The Broncos deliver an overtime victory against the Bills, but lose quarterback Bo Nix in the process, as the Seahawks demolish the 49ers. And two underdogs get set to battle in the college football championship. ESPN's Desmond join us to weigh in on the big games.
Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Sunday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. We are delighted to have Rachel Scott in for Geo this morning.
It would be a lot better this morning if the Niners would have won, but
I was going to say.
Yeah, the Niners are not still standing, unfortunately.
That's right. You've got a smile on your face. A lot of Broncos and Seahawks fans, though, waking up excited this morning. We have a lot of football to talk about today, including the NFL and Monday's college football championship.
Yeah, some great games ahead for sure. Also coming up, the latest on the surging measles outbreak in South Carolina. The numbers doubling in just 10 days, hundreds of people under quarantine.
But we do begin with more winter weather hitting the East Coast today from Florida to Maine. Meteorologist Greg Dutra from our Chicago station WLS is here with the latest. And Greg, seems like a bitter start to the week.
And a double dose of snow, too. Back-to-back days of snowfall in New York City. Big old flakes flying yesterday. Got an inch of snow. Possibly going to get 1 to 3 more inches of snow today as we track a coastal storm, which isn't just bringing snow to spots where you think gets snow. Look at this. Way down in the south, Alabama, Georgia, Florida Panhandle all seeing snowfall. And there's a winter weather advisory out there and a winter storm warning for 1 to 3 inches of snow, with 2 to 6 inches of snow falling from that coastal storm as it makes its way north during the course of today. So let's track that out here, because by about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're seeing heavy snow in New York. That continues all the way through the late day and likely into tonight, where those totals again will be possibly 3 to 6 inches in areas like Boston. Over to you guys.
Yeah, we still got a ways to go, Greg. We'll check back in just a bit. Now to President Trump's new threat against American allies as he pushes to take control of Greenland. ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is in Washington with the latest. Selena, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Whit. So this is President Trump's latest strategy to try and get control of Greenland. He's now threatening our NATO allies with tariffs, and protesters are taking to the streets of Greenland this weekend to send a very clear message. They do not want to be part of the United States.
This morning, President Trump issuing a new threat to our European allies who oppose a U.S. takeover of Greenland. Trump posting on Truth Social that 8 of our NATO allies, including Denmark, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, will face 10% tariffs starting on February 1st. Adding that those tariffs will jump to 25% in June until a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland.
Pull out of NATO if it doesn't help you acquire Greenland. If it doesn't lead the way.
Well, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly.
The president refusing to back down from his months-long pressure campaign to control Greenland, saying anything less than that is completely unacceptable, and has not ruled out the use of military force to take the Arctic island from our NATO ally, Denmark. A bipartisan group of senators now in Denmark trying to cool tensions.
We cannot allow this to become a partisan matter. We just simply cannot.
Do the officials in Denmark and Greenland take President Trump's threats seriously?
Very seriously. In fact, they're alarmed. Danish political leaders are preparing for the possibility that the United States, instead of being a close and trusted ally, might become an adversary, and they're gravely concerned.
European leaders outraged over Trump's tariff threat. Sweden says they will not be blackmailed. France says no intimidation nor threat will influence us. Those countries targeted with tariffs have sent small groups of military forces to the island nation in support of Denmark.
Greenland's not for sale!
It comes as thousands march through the street of Copenhagen today in protest, many waving Greenland's flag, holding signs reading, "Make America Smart Again" and "Hands Off." And demonstrators brave the cold in Greenland, making their message to the president clear.
We are not interested in being Americans.
Now, President Trump insists the U.S. needs Greenland for national security reasons, citing activity from China and Russia. But many experts and lawmakers say there's no immediate threat, pointing out the U.S. already has the ability to increase their military presence on the island through a long-standing treaty. Janae?
All right, Selena, thank you for your reporting on that. Meanwhile, protests intensifying in Minnesota this weekend over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown following the ICE killing of Renee Good. Now officials say some 1,500 active duty Army paratroopers have been put on alert for potential deployment. ABC's Matt Rivers is in Minneapolis with the new developments. So many developments continuing to happen. Matt, good morning.
Well, good morning, Janae. There was some chaos yesterday behind me in downtown Minneapolis as we saw two dueling protests, that scene kind of spiraling out of control. And now we know that U.S. troops are on standby. This morning, amid intensifying protests in Minnesota, officials telling ABC News that 2 battalions from the 11th Airborne Division, some 1,500 active duty Army paratroopers, have been put on alert for a possible deployment here, even though for now there is no plan for that to happen. One official saying the president has not made a final decision whether to deploy those 2 battalions. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. That official saying, "We are taking prudent steps to prepare active duty Army forces. This doesn't mean they will deploy. We are preparing options." This comes after President Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in order to deploy federal troops. But in recent days, the president seeming to walk that back.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
Tensions mounting in the city of Minneapolis after 11 days of demonstrations. We were outside City Hall Saturday as dueling protests took place. Hundreds of anti-ICE protesters descending on the area, vastly outnumbering the handful of people who had shown up for a pro-ICE rally organized by a conservative influencer.
What's happening right now is that the organizers of this rally, who are in the middle of that scrum right there, they're being forced out of the City Hall area, drowned out by hundreds of people who are anti this ICE deployment in the city. The message to these organizers: get out.
Meanwhile, the Minnesota National Guard posting this picture, saying that if they are ever deployed to the streets here, they will wear these bright yellow vests to differentiate themselves from ICE and Border Patrol. And so again, no plan to deploy the National Guard to the streets quite yet. No final plan either for those U.S. federal troops to be deployed here either. But with the fact that we're talking about it at all says a lot about the state of play here in Minneapolis.
It sure does. Matt Rivers for us. Thank you. Let's bring in ABC News Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl, who'll be hosting This Week later this morning. John, good morning. Always great to see you. So you have a big interview coming up with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who's called the ICE surge there an invasion. Now that move from the Trump administration, putting some 1,500 troops on alert. How extraordinary is this kind of standoff between state and federal authorities?
Well, wait, it is extraordinary. It is dangerous. ICE and other federal law enforcement personnel vastly outnumber the police in Minneapolis right now. And in addition to having that presence, the threat of a possible Insurrection Act invocation by the president and active duty troops, you have the Justice Department going in and launching a criminal investigation into the mayor and the governor. Really a set of circumstances that we really haven't seen, at least in a very long time in this country.
Yeah, and it appears to be escalating as well. I also want to ask you about President Trump's push to take control of Greenland, now threatening to use tariffs against U.S. allies. What are the risks here for the administration?
Well, first, Wade, I have to tell you, I've spoken to several people very close to Donald Trump, both in and outside the administration, who say that he is dead serious about acquiring Greenland one way or another. This is not just something that he is talking about. This is something he is extremely focused on, and it has truly alarmed our European allies. This is something, who knows where this goes right now. Those tariffs are invoked, are put on our allies in Europe. And by the way, that's coming just as the Supreme Court, we are awaiting a ruling from the court on whether or not Trump's tariffs are constitutional.
All right, a lot to watch with all of that. John Carl, thank you. And tune into this week for John's interview with Mayor Fry and Republican Representative Michael McCall about escalating protests in Minnesota. Plus, New Jersey Governor-elect Mikey Sherrill on her administration's priorities as she prepares to take office on Tuesday. Rachel.
All right, turning now to the surging number of measles cases in South Carolina. The figure's doubling over a 10-day stretch. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more. Good morning, Morgan.
To you, Rachel. Yes, cases in South Carolina are surging with more than 500 people now in quarantine, many of them children. And all of this is leaving health officials racing to contain a fast-spreading measles outbreak.
This morning, the country's largest measles outbreak growing at a troubling pace. New numbers from South Carolina show 124 cases just in the past few days alone, pushing the total to 558. Doctors in the state sounding the alarm.
It's avoidable. That's probably the most disturbing thing of it, right? If we all were vaccinated, we wouldn't have this.
The outbreak steadily building for months with the epicenter in rural Spartanburg County. Erica Pace lives there and recently came down with the measles. She says her symptoms started with body aches and quickly went downhill from there.
I started showing a lot of symptoms of it, and that's when I decided, well, when my rash came out, that's when I decided to go get tested for it.
Erica says her symptoms, fever, rash, aches, were unbearable for nearly a week. She's fully recovered now, but says she worries about her kids who are in different vaccination stages.
I have 3 that are in quarantine right now, so we're just kind of keeping an eye on them, making sure they don't develop any symptoms.
Unvaccinated children make up the vast majority of cases, according to South Carolina state data. More than 80% had not received the MMR vaccine. And there's growing concern for children under 12 to 15 months, too young to get the MMR vaccine, along with other vulnerable populations, with doctors emphasizing the importance of community immunity.
Most vaccines are for communities, not for you individuals. Some people can't be vaccinated. We have to vaccinate everybody around them. And it's high time that we get together in this.
And if you're not sure about your vaccination status, doctors say check with your healthcare provider. But to see your neighborhood's measles risk by zip code, take a look. You can head over to abcnews.com/health.
All right, Morgan, thank you. Meanwhile, here in New York, a woman killed in an alleged hit-and-run accident has been identified as former child actress Kiana Underwood. Underwood's credits include the Nickelodeon series All That and Little Bill. Police say Underwood was struck while crossing a street in Brooklyn early Friday. Police continue searching for the driver this morning.
All right, Janae, a massive turnout as thousands of Grateful Dead fans paid their last respects to Bob Weir in the Bay Area. Crowds gathered outside San Francisco Civic Center for the public memorial honoring the rock and roll legend on Saturday. The send-off included a procession carrying Weir's casket down Market Street. Weir died earlier this month from underlying lung issues after beating cancer. Bob Weir was 78 years old.
All right, switching gears now to Prince Harry, set to testify in court in England this week. He's one of many celebrities suing a major newspaper publisher. ABC's Olivia Rubin has more. Olivia, lots of eyes on this one.
So many, because it is the latest in Prince Harry's legal battle, and this one has been years in the making, very high profile. Getting underway tomorrow, Prince Harry himself expected in a London courtroom as he takes on the Daily Mail. And this particular lawsuit has some serious star power behind it. Harry is joined by legendary singer Elton John, actress Elizabeth Hurley, and others, all accusing the publisher behind the Daily Mail of using illegal tactics to collect information on the stars dating back to the late 90s and early 2000s. 2000s. Among those allegations, claims the paper hired private investigators to secretly place listening devices in their cars and homes, paid police officials for sensitive information, and even impersonated people to obtain private medical information. Now, the publisher denies any wrongdoing, calling those allegations, quote, preposterous smears, adding they are unsubstantiated and highly defamatory claims based on no credible evidence. The trial is expected to last 8 weeks and marks Harry's final case against the British tabloids. He most recently scored damages against the publisher behind the Daily Mirror over phone hacking allegations in 2023. Now he is expected to testify on Thursday, but despite his trip across the pond, it's not clear if he will see any of his royal family members while he's there, as some of them are traveling throughout the week, guys. But many looking for a reunion.
All right, Olivia, thank you very much. All right, now to college football's biggest game. Fans of the Miami Hurricanes and the Indiana Hoosiers descending on Florida ahead of Monday's matchup. A chance at the championship that fans of both teams could only dream of a couple years ago. A big Miami Hurricanes fan, Andrew Dimbert, has more this morning. Just needed to put that out there, Andrew.
Hey, what gave that away? Was it the orange tie? I don't know. Okay. Did you say that the Miami Hurricanes are in the national championship? Because it's a dream come true, really. And tickets for Monday night's national championship are now selling for thousands as fans from Coral Gables to Bloomington soak in a moment that's been, for both programs, decades in the making.
It's championship weekend in Miami, and you can feel it before you even see it. The Miami Hurricanes take on the Indiana Hoosiers, with the Canes looking to be the first college football team in the modern era to win it all at home. Green and orange lining South Florida streets, but Hoosiers fans felt too, packing hotels, bars, and restaurants, traveling hundreds, if not thousands of miles for one night that promises everything.
Hoosiers!
For the Canes, a return to the game's biggest stage, winning 5 national championships, but haven't even played for one in over 2 decades. For Indiana, an arrival, a program long synonymous with losing, now finds itself here for the first time in program history.
This week is no different than any other week. We have to be on point, but then you got to put it on the field, against a great opponent.
On Miami's sideline, highly recruited talent everywhere. True freshman Malachi Toney, who graduated high school early to play at Miami, should be getting ready for high school prom. Instead, he's getting ready for a national title. Nicknamed Baby Jesus, he's quickly becoming one of the most electrifying players in the sport.
And they're going to give it to Toney. Toney scores a touchdown!
While Indiana might lack in 4- and 5-star recruits, they more than make up for inexperience. The average age on the Indiana Hoosiers roster, 23 years old. Compare that to the average age of a player on the Green Bay Packers of the NFL, 25.
We got a lot of older guys that have high character, great leadership traits. They can buy into the team vision. There's no question about it. That's what's gotten us to this point.
Indiana rolls into Hard Rock Stadium as heavy favorites thanks to their Heisman-winning quarterback and likely first overall NFL draft pick, Fernando Mendoza, whose jersey says Indiana, but whose heart says Miami.
I could be selfish saying, oh, it's Miami, it's a homecoming and stuff like that. But in reality, all that matters is the football game.
Having grown up just down the street from the University of Miami, he now has the chance to win it all in his backyard. Oh, and stick it to his hometown team that passed on him as a recruit, too.
Although it means a lot to myself, it's a national championship. It would just mean so much for everybody around that I really want to put the spotlight on not myself, but everybody.
Both teams earn their way here, but it all comes down to this.
I don't think this game is about flash. Your best has to show in what the foundation of football is, and that's technique, fundamentals, scheme, and execution.
I can't wait. This is going to be a great game. And for Indiana, this means so much. But for Miami, it means everything. Whit, in South Florida, we say it's a you thing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand.
Well, I see the whole outfit and everything and your reaction the whole time.
I got a flight to catch. I got to get
Yeah, you better get on it.
Are you really going?
I have to.
Have so much fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Andrew.
Good. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.
All right, switching gears now, tennis star Venus Williams makes history at the Australian Open as it gets underway. At 45 years old, Williams is now the oldest player to ever compete in the main draw. Williams entered the tournament in Melbourne as a wild card. This morning, she fell in the first round to Serbian tennis player Olga Donalovic. Williams was among the 38 Americans competing in the Open.
Cool to see her,
yeah.
All right, coming up here on GMA in our next half hour, who has the edge here? ESPN's Desmond Howard previews the Canes-Hoosiers matchup, looking ahead to today's big NFL playoff matchups.
Plus, film versus digital. Two photographers, two generations, somehow managing to find friendship in the debate over what counts as real photography. Stick around.
Cause if you like the way you look that much, oh baby, you should go and love yourself.
And welcome back to GMA. If you haven't heard, 2016 is the new 2026, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. 10 years ago, the #1 song on the Billboard year-end Hot 100 was Justin Bieber's Love Yourself right there. And that year also gave us massive hits like Drake's One Dance and Rihanna's Work. Coming up, we are taking a trip down memory lane, revisiting what was trending, what we were listening to, and what defined 2016. Everybody's been talking about that.
I love seeing everybody's throwback photos, too. We have a few coming up.
We do. We're going to get into all of that. First, though, let's get a check of the weather. Meteorologist Greg Dutra joining us with that cold blast.
And a good old-fashioned snow football game, I think, in Foxborough today, too. Snow sets in towards the tail end of tailgating and then gets heavy during the game. The heaviest snowfall rates for eastern Massachusetts today, about 5 p.m. all the way to about 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 inch per hour snowfall. That's like the third and fourth quarter. That will be a wild game. Good news is the wind is calm. Bad news, of course, is going to be snowing as all get out there for the end of the game. Should make at least some good television. As we go back to the Midwest, the Bears are playing, and it is Bears weather. Expect a lot of wind, perhaps some snow showers, but I think those temperatures for the Bears game, well, they are going to be down in the single digits for wind chills and likely below 0 by the end of the game for the wind chill values. And again, we could possibly see some snow flurries there and some effect on field goals with those winds out of the southwest.
We begin this half hour with the big weekend in football. The NFL's conference championship matchups are taking shape after another intense day of playoff football. The Denver Broncos, they were the first to punch their ticket by beating the Buffalo Bills 33-30 in overtime Saturday. A good game. It'll be the Broncos' first appearance in the AFC Championship game since 2015, but they'll have to do it without quarterback Bo Nix. He broke a bone in his ankle on the second to last play of the game and would undergo season-ending ankle surgery.
That's really too bad for the Broncos there. And then I've got to tell this story for some reason. The late game here, the remarkable run from my Niners ended in a heartbreak against the Seahawks. Seattle just crushed San Francisco in the divisional round 41-6 and will host the NFC Championship game next week. Seahawks will host either the Los Angeles Rams or the Chicago Bears.
It didn't just end in heartbreak. It started in
It was like a
right?
beat down in the opening play, and then that was it.
Just the first 60 seconds were rough.
Exactly.
All right, but of course the action does not stop there. We have another NFL doubleheader today, in the college football championship game between Indiana and Miami is tomorrow, of course. So to preview the games, we have ESPN analyst Desmond Howard joining us with more. Hey, Des, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Good morning. Good to see you guys on a Sunday morning. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, we brought you in for this special occasion. So let's talk about tomorrow's college championship game. Indiana was among the worst football programs in the country not that long ago. Now the Hoosiers vying for the title. Yeah. How did they turn things around so quickly?
Yeah, you're right about that. Just an amazing job by Kurt Cignetti and his coaching staff. I think the biggest thing that people may not know about is when he came from JMU to Indiana, he brought a core group of players who were able to not only bring his culture, but to teach it to the other players so they understand what the message was and how they should execute it. So he brought a culture to Indiana that they hadn't seen before. He brought some great players who you'll see tomorrow night who have been major contributors. They had a very, I'd say, favorable schedule a year ago, but then they went back in the portal after getting embarrassed a year ago by Ohio State and Notre Dame, and went in the portal, beefed up the trenches, offensive line and defensive line, and of course, he went and got Fernando Mendoza at quarterback, who won the Heisman. So he's a great evaluator of talent, and that's why they are in the national championship game at Hard Rock tomorrow night at 7:30.
All right, well, Des, Miami is a powerhouse, but they have not won a national championship in 24 years. So what needs to happen for them to break this bad streak?
Yeah, it's been quite the drought for the Hurricanes. If they're going to win tomorrow, you look at this Signetti team, Indiana, they're a very disciplined team. They don't beat themselves. And obviously Miami has a lot of talent, but they can't get out of their own way sometimes. I mean, they've been flagged 105 times this season. That puts them at 132nd in the FBS. That's not winning football. And if you look at the semifinal game against Ole Miss, they were flagged 10 times. They did everything humanly possible to help Ole Miss win that game, including dropping 4 interceptions. So that just means they need to really play a clean game. They can't get penalized. They can't get cheap penalties and avoid getting turnovers like interceptions, because if they do, Indiana's a team that will pounce on you. If you look at the semifinal game when Indiana played Oregon, Oregon turned the ball over 3 times. The score was 21-0 before you could blink, and it was over.
So all that said, Des, who you got?
Well, you guys know I do this for a living, right? So I know these teams inside and out. And today is Sunday. The game is tomorrow. So I have a little bit more time just to break these teams down to see who has an edge or an advantage where. So right now, where I stand is I don't know. You can actually flip a coin, because this is a great matchup for both teams. But if you tune into College Game Day at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, you will get my pick. By then, I will have an answer for you.
You are so lucky that they turned down our mics, Des, because we were all through that. Exactly. That was kept it real cute, Des. Thank you so much. You can watch the College National Championship between Indiana and Miami on ESPN Monday night at 7:30 Eastern. Hopefully by then, Des has his pick.
I'm just happy that we're inside, because that's a live look at New York City outside right now. It looks pretty bad out there. All right, and so now we're going to turn to 2 photographers who didn't quite see eye to eye, but all that changed when they focused on their friendship. ABC's Will Gans has this story. Hey, Will.
Focused on their friendship. I see what you did there, yeah. Eraton Kaleo has been working as a photographer for the last 7 years. As an artist, he's used to getting feedback on his work, but nothing could have prepared him for what he heard right here on the streets of New York City. Eraton Kaleo has found himself on the opposite side of the lens from thousands of characters.
I kind of wear like a camera on my chest, and I go out into the world and kind of just capture what happens.
But he's never come across anyone quite like Bernie, a.k.a. OG.
I said real photographers use film. That interaction, I think we both left it feeling like kind of not very happy with each other. And then I just felt like there was a story unfinished, words unspoken.
Eraton returning to that same spot the next day.
So, man, you remember me?
And there he was.
I got no hate for you, bro. You're doing digital. I got no hate for you.
What's her name?
My name is Bernie. All I'm saying is stick with film.
Turns out OG is a prolific photographer himself, starting his career in the early 90s. And 3 decades later, OG shifting focus to the next generation.
It's time to get you a film camera.
Surprising Eraton with his own film camera.
Other people helped me out. I had a lot of people help me out.
It was just a shock for me, that not just to put the money forward to buy the camera, but also to like kind of take me under his wing.
Eraton's videos with OG racking up hundreds of millions of views.
I did not expect that a couple weeks later we'd be friends and I'd be listening to his voice memos.
With the unlikely photog frenemies becoming best buds.
Do you think there's anything that you have taught him?
I think maybe for years when he put the camera down, he kind of forgot that, you know, he actually is admired, and this is kind of showing him that the world appreciates who he is.
And Eraton tells me he and OG exchange those voice memos every single day now. As for Eraton's film photography, he says he still needs a little bit of practice, but what he lacks in skill, he more than makes up for in mentorship now, thanks to OG.
I love that connection. Story.
I know. You never know who you're going to run into on the streets of New York City.
Truly.
For better or for worse.
Right. Hopefully you get that lucky.
And by the way, film is making a comeback. It's like a whole thing right now. So I love like the merging of those two styles.
So much of the analog is coming back, right? All right, so coming up here on Good Morning America, a personal look at the 2016, speaking of old and analog, let's go back to 2016.
It wasn't that long ago. All right, in today's group chat, we are looking at the 2016 challenge, which is all over social media right now. Users sharing photos of what life was like a decade ago. In fact, searches for back to 2016 are up more than 400% this past week. So Will Gans is here with what's behind the popularity.
All right, so nostalgia's never been more marketable than it is right now. Next month, we've got the Scrubs revival coming to ABC. Then we have The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming up in May on the big screen. So folks are really leaning into nostalgia, and 2016 is right in the sweet spot, right? We had social media, but it wasn't as curated as it is now. It was the wild, wild west back then. We were posting whatever came into our mind.
Raw and unfiltered.
Exactly. So there's plenty of content to mine through, and folks are sharing that. In fact, 1.7 million posts using 2016 on TikTok alone.
And lots of posts include the biggest songs from 2016 when the music was amazing, right?
It really was. 2016 was the last time Rihanna released an album.
We got to talk about this.
Work. Isn't that insane?
It really is.
Also, the year started with Hello by Adele at #1 on the Billboard chart. Yeah, Lemonade came out in 2016. It was really such a huge year for music. We also had #1s from Drake, and we also had #1s from the Chainsmokers. So it was a good time to be alive.
Bangers.
Yeah. Which begs the question you guys got to ask, what were you up to in 2016?
Yeah, so we all had to kind of like go back through the archives here. So this is a picture that I posted here. This is from the Rio Olympics in 2016. Covering it, our view from Copacabana Beach.
Working
it looks like tough work, yeah.
Really hard
Not
there,
a bad office, right? So, and I was just thinking about this because we're already getting excited for the Winter Olympics coming up here very soon.
And didn't they tell you not to walk around by yourself when you're out there?
Yes, actually, yeah. My security guard told me that it looked like I had a sign on my head that said "rob me."
Yeah. So there's that. I didn't mean to bring that up on TV, but I knew it was a good story.
He went there. Say no more.
So in 2016, I was saying earlier, it feels like my life started. I started the year as a reporter at our Orlando affiliate, WFTV.
Wow.
I met my husband. I got out of my work contract there, bet on myself, fortune favors the bold, moved to DC with this man I was in love with, started at ABC News.
Yeah. Wow.
And everything just fell into place. So I think back so fondly on 2016.
Well, happy decade at ABC, by the way, too.
And it's a
Same
decade for me,
you.
too. So this is a photo that I picked. 2016, that is me delivering sandwiches to the control room. I started at ABC News as a production associate.
Started from the bottom, now you're here.
Now I am here. And who would have thought? I mean, that was a big election night, and I wanted to be a political correspondent. And so to be here 10 years later actually doing that. And I remember when you started, because I remember reaching out to you, and I looked up to you so much. So here we are 10 years later together.
It's
so
so
special.
Sweet. It is.
Yeah, from delivering sandwiches to now the whole meal of politics.
That's right.
There's a lot to chew on now.
Really,
Yeah.
there's a lot on the menu.
Exactly.
What about you, Will?
Okay, so I don't know if we have the video that I sent in, but my 2016 was not so different from what I'm doing now, which was posting anything and everything to social media.
Wait.
Me and Sarah Haynes would just be posting these whack videos.
Wait, did you have a beard?
I know.
Was that a
I
beard?
thought it made me look older. It made me look unwell, but you know, this is what I was doing in 2016. But nothing exemplifies 2016 just like going completely rogue and you know, posting whatever.
I think the two of you need to be reunited and recreate that now.
Anytime anyone wants me to do anything with Sarah Haynes, it's an easy yes for me. I think she's the best.
Yeah, some things have worked out for her too over the years.
Exactly.
You can always catch her on What You Need to Know, but we were so lucky to have Rachel with us all morning. So great to have you. And thank you for starting your day with us.
And Greg, good to have you here this week.
Absolutely.
As
Go
always.
Bears.
Go
Bears.
Go Bears. There we go. We've all been reminiscing about 2016 too.
I know.
All the gray hair came in between.
No, it
then
did
and
not.
now.
Some of us are still young. And
Rihanna,
vibrant, and so
drop
are you.
an album.
So
For
are you.
yourself. Yes. Have a great week,
Have a great day,
everybody.
guys.